Hello, this video is about finding the capacitance of a spherical capacitor and a cylindrical capacitor. So just as we found the capacitance in case of a parallel plate capacitor, we will follow the same steps to find out the capacitance of a spherical capacitor and a cylindrical capacitor. So the situation changes, but the concept is same. So to begin with, I am taking the first case of a spherical capacitor. So for this, we have two concentric spherical shells, right? The two spherical shells are just like this. The inner one is having radius A and charge plus Q, and the outer one is at the same center and having radius B and charge minus Q. So these two concentric spherical shells make the two spherical I can say shells of a charged shells of a capacitor. So here the surfaces are not plain plates, but they are spherical in shape. So we have to proceed in the similar manner as we have discussed in our earlier class, right? So to begin with, the electric field, variation of electric field from sphere 1 to sphere 2, which we have also taken in case of parallel plate capacitor. So this electric field, it is nothing but dV upon dr, where dr is the variation from sphere A to sphere B, and dV is the change in potential taking place from A to B. So this is what we write here. Here dV is not constant, so that we can replace it by V upon D. This is not constant, hence dV is not to be written as V. Why? Because as the distance from the center changes at different points, there will be different potential. So we write it as dV. So from here, dV, it is equal to E into dr. So this is the small change in potential whenever small distance is increased from sphere 1 towards the sphere B, right? So what will be the total potential difference between the two spheres whenever we move from sphere, inner sphere to outer sphere, that is from radius A up to radius B. So therefore total potential difference is given by integration of all such potential differences from A to B, which is given by integration of E dr from A to B. So let this be equation number 1. Here, to find out this potential difference, we have to find out this potential difference. Then we can substitute the value in C is equal to Q upon V, as we did in our earlier articles on parallel plate capacitor. So that's why we are finding V here. In case of parallel plate capacitor also, we have found V in the same steps, except that the electric field, it is different, and hence potential difference will be different from inner sphere to outer sphere. However, in parallel plate capacitors, there will be no change in potential. So that's why we have to include the all factors which have amounts to change in potential difference. So in order to find out this expression of potential difference, we have to find out E and hence find the integration. So this is the electric field. What is the electric field due to this inner sphere at different points? So in order to do that, to write the expression for electric field, we consider just as we have proceeded in case of Gauss law. We consider a Gaussian surface around the inner charged sphere. So this is a Gaussian sphere around this inner charged sphere at the same center, right? And the radius that we take here, suppose that it is r. Radius of the Gaussian sphere is r, right? So what is the electric field due to this inner sphere through this Gaussian surface. We can find out it by using Gauss law. So Gauss law simply says that flux, total flux through the Gaussian surface is equal to Q charge over the surface, enclosed by the Gaussian surface, and divided by epsilon naught. Whereas by definition this flux is equal to electric field multiplied by area vector into magnitude of the area vector into cos of theta. Here again the electric field and the area vector will be along the same direction, hence angle theta will be 0, so cos 0 remains 1. So this is how we find the electric field. This is according to Gauss law and this is by definition, because two things are representing the same physical quantity. Okay, so from here we get E. This S is the surface area of the Gaussian surface, which is E into 4 pi r square. So from here E, it is nothing but it goes to the other side and we are left with only 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q upon r square. So this is the electric field at any point r. So we substitute this value of electric field here. So from here, therefore equation 1 becomes, from there we can calculate the potential difference V equal to integration from A to B. Let us substitute the value of E, which is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q upon r square into dr. So we take the constants out of the integration sign and we have 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q. So let me write Q here into integration of 1 upon r square dr. So we can simply find out this value, and from here we can write the potential to be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q into integration, not integration, let us calculate the integration, which comes out to be minus 1 upon r, and after substituting the values, minus 1 upon r A to B, and after substituting the values we get this form 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q into, inside bracket we have 1 upon A minus 1 upon B. And if we further simplify this, we get V to be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q into, let us take the LCM, so it becomes B minus A upon A into B. So this is the potential. So therefore we can calculate the capacitance of this spherical capacitor. So which simply equals Q upon V. What this gives? This gives Q divided by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into Q into B minus A upon AB. So from here Q cancels out and whatever left we write it as, it is 4 pi epsilon naught into AB upon B minus A. So let us write this question. So this is the capacitance of a spherical capacitor having two concentric spherical shells. If we slightly recall the capacitance of a single sphere which we have found in the beginning, then the expression for that capacitance is C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught into R, for example. So R, or we can say it is an inner sphere, for example A, right? Here the inner sphere, like we take is, it is the single sphere A, so for which the capacitance is 4 pi epsilon naught R, or here we are taking it as radius A, right? To differentiate, let me put symbol as C dash here. So this was the capacitance of a single sphere, and this is the capacitance whenever there are two concentric spherical shells, or we can say whenever we have brought another spherical shell close to the earlier sphere. Then let us compare the capacitance of the two. We see that this term AB divided by B minus A, it is more than A. Mathematically, AB divided by B minus A, it is more than A. So we can say that this capacitance is more. So whenever we bring another sphere close to the given sphere, the capacitance of the sphere as a whole increases. So that simply says that C, the new capacitance, will be more than the earlier capacitance. Mathematically you can check this. You can write this equation as, to make it easy to understand, you can write it as 4 pi epsilon naught into A into B upon B minus A. This you can write just like this. So this term is common, but this formula of capacitance has this extra term. Now this extra term, it is more than 1. It will be more than 1. So something multiplied by more than 1, total value becomes even bigger. So we can say that the new capacitance will be more than the earlier capacitance for single sphere. So this is how we find the capacitance of a spherical capacitor. In the very same steps, we can derive the expression for the capacitance of a cylindrical capacitor. So to begin with, I am not erasing anything, I am just drawing a cylindrical capacitor. So for convenience, let us take some cylinder just like this. So it has axis and radius. In the similar way, the radius is, for example, A, and we take concentric cylinder on the same axis, having the same axis around it, having bigger radius. So the two cylinders have the same axis, they are lying on the same axis, so that they are concentric cylinders. You can call them to be concentric cylinders. So the radius of inner cylinder is A and the outer cylinder is B. Inner cylinder is charged with charge plus Q and outer one is charged with charge minus Q. So this is the situation. So we proceed in the very similar steps in order to find out its expression. Right? The variation of electric field from inner surface to outer surface is given by this expression, because potential changes from inner surface to outer cylindrical surface. So from here we write same expression for the cylindrical capacitor. Electric field of a cylindrical capacitor from inner surface to outer surface, it is given by dV upon dr, because potential changes from inner cylindrical surface to outer spherical surface because distance changes. So therefore we write it as, and from here dV becomes equal to E into dr. Right? So for small change in distance from inner surface to outer surface, towards outer surface, the change in potential is dV. This is what this equation says. Then total change in potential, or we can say potential difference, it is given by integrating all such change in potential differences, potential electric potentials, or we can say electric potential differences from inner radius up to outer radius. So from here up to outer radius B. So we integrate in the similar step. So it is E into dr, as it is clear from here. So it is E into dr. Now we substitute the value of electric field for any Gaussian surface between the two cylindrical surfaces. So we draw a Gaussian surface which is enclosing the inner cylindrical surface. So here is the Gaussian surface which encloses the inner surface, just like this, right? And we can take that the radius of this Gaussian surface is R. So what is the electric field through this Gaussian surface. This we can find out again with the help of the Gauss law, as we have did in our earlier classes during we discussed Gauss law. So we proceed in the similar manner. The total flux through this Gaussian surface having radius r, it is given to be charge which is enclosed per unit epsilon naught, and by the definition the same flux is given to be E into S into cos theta, where theta is again 0 degree, because the electric field is directed radially outward from this cylindrical charged cylindrical sphere, or we can say not sphere but surface, and S is the surface area of this Gaussian surface, and theta is 0. So theta is 0 because the area vector to the Gaussian surface and the electric field, they are along the same direction as we have did discussed earlier. So it is E into S, where S is the surface area of this Gaussian cylindrical surface. So a cylindrical surface, the area of cylindrical surface, because electric field it is directed only radially outward and not along the axis of a charged cylinder. So we consider only the lateral surface area of the cylinder as we discussed earlier. So it is 2 pi r into L. So this is the only change here, and from here this term goes to the other side, and from here we are left with only, it is 1 upon 2 pi epsilon naught into Q upon R L. So this is the electric field. Through a Gaussian surface between the two cylindrical surfaces of the capacitor, right? So we substitute this value here and make further calculations. So here we have L outside here also, so it is R L. Each and every step is same. So only R is the variable. All other terms comes out of the sign of integration. So it is 2 pi epsilon naught into L, and inside we are left with only 1 upon R, and the integration goes from limits A up to B, inner radius up to outer radius B. And from here 1 upon R, the integration of 1 upon R, it is nothing but log. It is nothing but log of R to the base E, because this is the formula identity that 1 upon R integration, it is always equal to log R, and the limits as we substitute. So whenever we substitute the limits, it becomes log upper limit log B minus log A. So that takes the form, this is an identity, it becomes log B minus log A to the base E, right? And when we arrange it, then it simply becomes, this is an identity that this can be written as log E, it is B upon A. So this becomes the potential. Now we can substitute the value of this potential difference in the formula for capacitance, and hence calculate the capacitance of a cylindrical capacitor. So we substitute V here, so this changes to log B upon A to the base E. Let us keep it as it is for now, and the Q cancels out, and we are left with only 4 pi epsilon naught into log B upon A to the base E. So this is the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. No, sorry, cylindrical capacitor. So we can see that each and every step is same, only that situation is different is that it is a cylindrical Gaussian surface. For that you have to find out the electric field, which is this. Sorry, we just forget to write L here. So it is 2 pi epsilon naught L, and here also 2 pi epsilon naught into L, 2 pi epsilon naught into L. So, okay, so this is the L. So this is the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor. So let us solve this. So from here we have to integrate 1 upon r. It is an identity which says that q upon, it is 2 pi epsilon naught into L into integration of 1 upon r with respect to r dr. It is log of r to the base e, where limit goes from a to b. So this potential takes the form as q upon 2 pi epsilon naught into L. This is the term we have written earlier. And let us substitute the upper limit first and then minus lower limit. So it takes the log b minus log a, and it is an identity that log b minus log a, it is nothing but log b upon a to the base e. Right? So this is the potential difference. So therefore from here we can write the value for the capacitance, which is q upon v, right, where q is the charge stored on the capacitor and v is the potential difference, which we have calculated to be this. Let us substitute the value. So it takes the form q, or let me write it as q upon, it is q upon 2 pi epsilon naught into L into, it is log b upon a to the base e. So q cancels out, so we are left with only the expression as capacitance is equal to 2 pi epsilon naught into L goes up, so it becomes 2 pi epsilon naught into L divided by log b upon a to the base e. If we are writing it to the base 10, converting it, then we can say that it is equal to 2.303 into log of b upon a to the base 10. So this is the capacitance of a cylindrical capacitor. So I have not rubbed any step because I just want to show that steps for calculating the capacitance of a spherical capacitor and for cylindrical capacitance are quite identical. Only difference is of the expression for the electric field, right? So this is about parallel plate capacitor, spherical capacitor and the cylindrical capacitor. That's all for now. On the next topic we will discuss the combination of capacitances. Thank you.